Welcome to the party, comrades. What's going on, everyone? Today we're talking about real-life drummer monk mode and my stunning and brave transition from a bad to medium drummer. Let's get started.
Don't call to talk about it. It's too late.
What the hell was that? What? That was my intro?
Weird.
Oh my god. What a fever dream. Alright, we're going to dive right into today's topic. But first, a word from our sponsors. Clan Guild Wars. Download this game. Play it until it gets hard. Make a bunch of transactions and ruin your life. Clan Guild Wars. Isn't it ridiculous when a YouTube video has a sponsor that has absolutely nothing to do with the channel? I find that hilarious. Buy gold and cryptocurrency. No, never mind. Sorry about that. Let's move on. And have you guys had a complete full of every single video reminding you to like and subscribe? Like, hey, we all know what those buttons are, where they are, how to press them. Some of us know what they do. And I promise if I like your video, I'm going to hit like, maybe, if I'm not too drunk. And if I want to see more of your stuff, I'll hit subscribe. You do not have to remind me every video. Thank you. And no, that's not just my meta way of asking you to like and subscribe. I don't care. It's been a very tight-knit community from the beginning, and it's going to stay that way forever. So do what you want. If you dislike it, hit the dislike. Go for it. Let me know why you hate it. All right, sorry about all that. Now, I promise all the nonsense is out of the way, and we're just going to get right into it. All right, so today we're talking about monk mode drummer style. So what is monk mode? It's essentially making a bunch of life changes, making a bunch of good habits, getting rid of old ones, all in a pursuit of some master goal. In this case, it's to become a better drummer and then have that lead to other opportunities, including playing with other musicians, maybe putting some kind of project together. But right now, I feel like I'm a little too far away from that, a little out of practice. It's discouraging when I sit down to play and my hands can't keep up with what my mind wants to play. Like, I hear it in my brain, but I just can't reproduce everything anymore, so it's gotten a little discouraging, and I figured, hey, if I'm going to call myself a drummer, I've got to be a drummer. And right now, it's just not working for me, so I got to make things better. So we're going to talk about how to practice most efficiently, how to get the most out of your time, how to get better the fastest. We're just going to talk about my personal preferences on what rudiments I might want to get better at, which ones I think will lead me to my goal a little bit better. Might not be exactly the same for you, but I'm going to give a lot of things to ponder, a lot of topics to think about. It's going to be a lot of information, rapid fire. I'm going to try my best to have references. I'm going to link some snazzy YouTube video that explains deeper everything that I bring up today. Essentially, I want to focus on how to best become a better drummer, and then also monk mode includes making changes in real life. Since drumming is life, everything you do to improve your life around drumming will in some way make you a better drummer. We're going to start off with the drum related stuff, and then I'm going to get into all the hippy dippy shit at the end. So I'll let you know when all the drum related content is over, and if you don't want to hear any more past that, feel free to just cut out, hit that dislike button on your way out. But then after that, we'll talk about methods to improve your health, your mindset, maybe make you more efficient. We're going to talk about how to become a better drummer, but we're also going to talk about how to have a better life, because drumming is life. So as far as drumming goes, one of all of our goals is probably to go faster, be able to have faster hands and faster feet. I don't know how much faster I need to be. I don't know if I need to do 240 BPM blast beats or anything like that. But I will start by measuring how fast I am now, and maybe that'll help me decide how fast I want to get to. I plan on getting faster by doing a handful of speed drills. I know a handful of them. I might find a few more before I begin, but there's drills to make your hands and your feet faster. That will work into daily practice. Right now I want to do at least 30 minutes a day. I know that's not a whole lot for some people. If you're lucky enough to be able to spend 8 hours a day drumming and treat it like your life, then hats off to you. But a lot of us have a life that isn't a professional music career, and we've got another job that we schlub at all day long until we're lucky enough to come home and play our beloved drum set. And maybe you only have 30 minutes in a day to practice, but I'll tell you that's a lot better than nothing. We can talk about what a realistic length of time is to practice. Practice as long or longer as you will need to perform. If you're doing hour-long shows, maybe practice for an hour, hour and a half at a time. If you're doing 2-hour shows, maybe practice 2.5, 3, maybe 4 hours just to make sure that you'll have more than enough stamina to perform at your best the entire time. A lot of guys brag about practicing for 8 hours a day, and I've got to be honest, it sounds like half BS because you probably work like an office worker. Yeah, you're there for 8 hours, but you're only working 30% of the time. Like, maybe you're sitting in that chair, but you're not playing drums the whole time. You can't possibly be. And I know everyone that has bragged about how long they practice per day, they've all had carpal tunnel surgery in both wrists at least once. Talk about carpal tunnel, we'll talk about calluses, blisters, bleeding from your fingers, and how to make what limited time that you have to practice the most beneficial. All right, now there are a few factors that decide how fruitful your practice is. There are a few things you can do to make sure that you get the most out of your practice. So essentially, when we learn anything new or practice or get better at a new skill, you need your brain to make new connections. And the way that works is while we're learning something or practicing, the brain is making these pre-connections. Like it's deciding, hey, I'm going to connect this to that a little bit later. And when that later is when you're sleeping at night. If you go into REM sleep, that's when your brain actually solidifies those connections. So if you're not getting REM sleep, you're not getting better at anything, your brain isn't making any new connections. I know it's not always possible, but every time you can, sleep as long as your body wants to sleep. Essentially, sleep until you dream is a good rule of thumb to know that you're having REM sleep. So additionally, along those same lines, I know not all of you do this, but some of y'all do this. If you drink or do whatever drugs before you practice, your brain probably won't make as many new connections as it would have otherwise. And there's also another problem with that I'll get back to in a second. Also, if you're drinking or doing anything that disrupts your sleep, you're less likely to have REM sleep and solidify those new connections during the night. Another problem with doing drugs or any other dopamine creating activity could be playing video games, could be, there's a very long list of things that give you a dopamine spike.
Go away, Baton!
And essentially what you want to do is not do any of them before or after you practice what you want to get good at. Essentially what you want to do is make your practice be your dopamine spike. So if you don't have many throughout the day and you aren't getting high right before or after, then that makes your practice create your dopamine for you. And the longer you do that, the more you will fall in love with practice, because what your real goal is to fall in love with the process. Like, of course, the goal is fantastic, but you can't just grind through hating the process of getting there every single day. You got to try to make yourself love the process, and a great way to do that is to not get a whole lot of dopamine throughout the day. You may even consider a dopamine detox. Another big thing to consider when you're talking about practicing for drumming or anything else, even athletics, whatever you're trying to get better at, your practice needs to closely mimic what you're trying to get good at. So for example, lifting weights might make you strong at doing that lift, but that increased strength may not translate directly into baseball or basketball. And along the same token, I've started to think that maybe, I know we all use a drummer's pad, and a lot of times that's all we have. But I know for me personally, my drumming pad is a lot more rigid, it has a lot more bounce to it than the heads of my drums do. So something I've been doing lately is trying to find an object that has as much or less bounce than my drum heads. I'd rather that speed and those skills transfer to the drum set than on the pad, because I'm not going to be performing the pad in front of everyone, I'm going to be performing the drums. And I feel like to get the best transfer from hand skills and rudiments and stuff to be better on the drums is to either practice on a drum, maybe do my rudiments on each tom, or when I can't play the drums, put something soft over the drumming pad, like fold up a shirt, or maybe try playing on a pillow or a couch cushion or something where you generate your own bounce. That in itself can help build up your recoil in your fingers and being able to play the drums without benefiting from the recoil of the head itself. You'll have complete control over your stick. And along those same lines, when I'm training the feet, as much of the practice needs to be done on the bass pedal itself. Like, it's not good enough to just tap the ground as fast as you can or play rudiments with your feet on the ground. Like, again, it's like a drum pad. It's great when you don't have anything else, but as much of the foot training as possible, let's make sure it's done on the drum pedal so it directly translates with hitting the bass drum as fast and as well as possible. So along with the speed drills, there's a handful of rudiments that I've chosen. I've chosen them based on a lot of factors, including how much I like them, but also how much I noticed that they make me a better drummer, they get me better at my hands, and how quickly I can progress in playing those rudiments faster and for a longer time. Some of those include reverse double rolls. Flamadiddles into flamadiddle diddles. Flam triplets into double triplets. Five, 5-3s. Double stick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s. And there's this really great book called Stick Control, which I'd like to just do the very first exercise in. It takes 25 to 30 minutes. It's simple, it's straightforward, but I promise you it's virtually impossible to do perfectly without letting your mind wander or missing a single note. Is actually quite an accomplishment if you're able to do so. As far as the feet go, I'm going to try to do every rudiment that I do with my hands on my feet. My goal is to have my feet be just as fast and able to play as my hands. I want my left foot to be as good as my right foot. I want my left hand to be as good as my right. I'll accomplish that by making sure to lead with the left. Whatever your weak or slower hand or foot is, when you practice, lead with that. Instead, the one is always on the left hand for me. I'm going to measure how fast I can do single stroke rolls with both hands and feet. I'll measure how fast I can do some of these rudiments, and then check in every month or so. I can actually measure my progress objectively, share it with everyone, keep myself accountable. You guys help me stay accountable. But yeah, that's the overall plan. Daily drumming practice, 30 to 60 minutes per day is what I'm going to start on. If I start to get a blister, I'm going to call it a day, not because I can't handle a blister, but because another part of drumming is developing your hands, developing the skin on your hands. So what you want are calluses over every part that the stick touches. If you've been drumming for forever, then you already have those and you're fine. But for those of us who gave it up for a little bit while and are getting back into it, calluses build slowly. And if you get a blister and then that skin tears off, that takes off a few layers of skin and undoes all that hard callus building that you were working on. When a blister starts, put down the sticks, drain the blister, call it a day, and wait till the hand heals and forms a callus. I'm not going to keep tearing them off. I won't go until my fingers bleed like I used to do. You've got to gently nurture those calluses until they're beefy enough to play all day. All right, that concludes the drumming related portion of this monk mode tutorial. Everyone who's not concerned about improving their life outside of drumming, thank you. Thanks for watching. It's been great. I'll see you next time. All right, whoever's left, here's your hippy dippy shit warning.
And the trees and the flowers and the children and the people and the merry-go-round.
Oh, sure, I hate that stuff too. I'm with you.
All right, here we go. Here's the life changes that I want to make. In addition to drum practice, I'm going to try to exercise 6 days a week, 30 to 60 minutes each. Combination of running, weights, some form of calisthenics, some stretching in there. I also want to get back to doing flushes. I have a certain number of materials that I stir into water and drink, and helps flush out toxins, kill parasites, and really get anything the body doesn't want, kind of helps it get rid of. We're talking stuff like turmeric, neem, enough folic acid, a gram at a time until you need to use the bathroom is a good general rule of thumb on that. Apple cider vinegar, and nobody drink turpentine. It's totally not safe. Says there right on the bottle, don't drink it. I may or may not drink it. You don't drink it, but I do. And let me tell you, it'll clean you out. So along with flushing toxins and parasites out of my body, also want to make sure to add nutrients. Talking about trace nutrients that most modern Americans don't have in their diet. Fulvic acid, or something called shilajit. It's essentially the dirt from an ancient forest or mountaintop. It's got a lot of nutrients in it that our soil is currently depleted of. A big reason that is we don't grow our own food, and not everyone uses wood-fired fireplaces, and we used to sprinkle the ash from the fireplace in the garden, and people used to get those nutrients that have been leached out of the soil. So that, in addition to something called carbon-60 or C60, only effective if it's suspended in oil. And then I have a small assortment of supplements for random things, like maybe collagen and biotin for skin and hair. I've got a few other supplements for working out. But mostly I'll try to get my nutrients from a healthy diet. So those are the things that are going in me. Here are the things that are not going in me. No alcohol, no cigarettes, no trans fat, no artificial coloring, no artificial flavoring, no natural flavoring. Here's a hint, it's not natural. Strongly limit sugar and seed oil. It's almost impossible to avoid, even if you eat health foods. Loads of problem with sugar and seed oil. I'll see if I can find more information on that below. I also want to do a couple of breathing exercises every day. One is the basic Wim Hof breath method, except for every inhale you do it with your nose instead of through your mouth. Essentially, this technique tricks your body into thinking it's dead, and then this resets all of your systems. The second breathing exercise I would like to do every day is one that stimulates DMT from the pineal gland. It's a little more complicated, but with a bunch of heavy breaths, deep exhale, and taint squeezes, you can actually get the pineal gland to produce DMT. It's powerful. You'll get a deep sense of relaxation, of peace, and you can repeat the technique several times to get a stronger effect. I've only ever done it 3 times, and that's as much as you would need, honestly. So check that out below if you'd like as well. And in addition to the drum and health practice, I also want to make sure to do chores every day, probably 30 minutes worth. Weekly habits should include, I'm going to try to do food prep on Sundays, I guess, make lunches for the remaining week, and maybe prepare a few other things to make making dinner later in the week less of a hassle when you come home from work and stuff. I want to do one weekly efficiency project, some sort of housekeeping or home improvement thing that makes my life easier. For example, finally getting Studio 2.0 set up for push button recording. That's in the near future. Really, any little project that, and trust me, there's several around this house that I haven't gotten to yet. But each one will make life easier and just build more momentum towards getting better in every way. Something else I want to do weekly is volunteer, some sort of charity. Might be with troubled youth or something like that. I've been looking into a few things, and we'll see if I can find some time in my busy schedule to spend 1 or 2 hours making the world a better place and giving back, trying to be thankful for what I have. And then monthly goals include, I want to perform at least once a month at either an open mic or some bars allow people to come in and just play together and improvise together. So I want to start doing that. I'll get to a point in my practice where I feel confident enough playing in public again. And then there's several bars around here that do that. Just let people step up and grab an instrument and play together thing. So I'm going to get on that once I feel confident enough in my skills again. And then another monthly practice that I want to try to do almost every month is something called the Christos. So that, quite simply, is when the moon passes into your phase, it plants a spirit seed into your tailbone, and every day it moves up your back from your tailbone, between your shoulder blades, into your neck, and then eventually up into your brain and passes through your pineal gland, at which point your pineal gland starts producing stem cells for a handful of days afterwards. Read more about it below. I know it sounds crazy, but I do it and I can feel it, and it's a real thing. So try it, see if it improves your life. So those are my goals, drumming and life. I plan on accomplishing all of them. But there's other things to consider, including whether or not to start everything all at once. Obviously, that's the more difficult way to go about it, and the way to make me most likely to fail and or give up. Giving up is the only way I'll fail in this. I think a lot of people would say the healthy way is to start 1 or 2 new changes. You got to start small. Don't just add 2 to 3 hours worth of daily activity into your schedule. It might not be easy to maintain at first, so you can just start small. Practice for 15 minutes, chores for 15 minutes, exercise for 30. I mean, it's better than nothing. So everyone has the option of starting small, building momentum towards something bigger and better. But I think what I'm going to do is just dive right into it. I'm going to start this one day soon. Might be tomorrow, but someday soon. I'm dedicating 2 hours a day to making everything better. And if that inspires anyone to either be a better drummer or better anything in life, or just to have a better life, hopefully some of this information is helpful to people out there. Please peruse the links below, learn a little bit more about what I'm talking about, decide for yourself if it's helpful or not. All right, thank you so much to anyone who stuck around this long. Please, in the comments below, tell me how you would design your monk mode. Is there anything you would add or take away to my plans? I want to hear what you all have to say. All right, thank you everyone for watching this long, and I'll catch you next time. It ain't safe no more. Peace.